You're very welcome to today's video looking at introductory digital marketing and social media for the construction industry. My name is Emma Gribben and I am the Managing Director at Digital by Emma, and I'm going to take you through this video today. Today's video will include an overview of the digital marketing channels available, a quick explanation of SEO, a look at Google My Business, social media trends, why to use email marketing, and Google Analytics explained. Starting with digital strategy, it's really important that you have a good combination of digital marketing channels so you can reach potential customers. When we consider all of the digital marketing channels that are available, there's hundreds, if not thousands, that you could choose from. The challenging part is trying to make sure that you've got the right digital marketing mix to reach your audience. When we think about the potential, there are over 3 billion searches happening every single day. And that's not surprising when we think there's nearly 650 million internet users in Europe alone. So therefore, search is probably going to be a mainstay of your digital campaign, along with social media. There are over 42 million of us in the UK using social media, so you can harness the opportunities from these social platforms. When we look at digital around the world, we can see that 66% of the population are using mobile phones, 59% are using the internet, and over 50% are using social media. So it's important that we have this kind of perspective when we're planning our digital marketing channels. It's also really encouraging to see that the number of internet users is increasing on an annual basis. And currently we're spending in around 7 hours per day on the internet. That time spent on the internet is dispersed right across the day from the minute we wake up until we go to bed. And we're probably using it for a mixture of personal and work purposes. Looking at where we're spending our time, we can see that nearly 2.5 hours is spent on social media. Nearly 3.5 hours is spent watching TV. 1.5 hours is spent listening to streaming services, and over 1 hour is spent using gaming consoles. We also know that the last 12 months has had an impact on how we use digital. Digital has helped people to cope during the COVID-19 pandemic. 83% of those surveyed said it helped them to cope with COVID-19 related lockdowns. 76% said it helped with their children's education. And we can see other benefits here, like helping people to stay in touch with friends and family, helping them to do their job, helping to keep children entertained and engaged, and then more practical activities like helping with shopping, groceries, improving people's mental health, accessing healthcare, online fitness and exercise, and helping people to improve their income and finances. When we look at the digital marketing channels that are available for use, there's a lot that we can choose from. And it's unlikely that we're going to get all of them set up and optimized straight away. This will take some time. But when it comes to digital marketing, it's important that you start that process with a strong brand presence. You will be using your logo and your brand across platforms like your website, across social media profiles, email marketing, content, video production. So it's really important that you have an agreed logo, a brand color set that you can use, and a clear idea on fonts or text used in your brand presence. These will be applied to social media. So with social media, today we're going to look at some of the most popular social media platforms alongside content marketing, which is a great way of getting information about your business into the public domain. Email marketing is also an area we'll focus on. And this is really good for staying engaged with your current and potential customers. Video production has an area of itself because of the importance of video content. We know video works really well on social media, and video conveys so many more messages than images and text alone. SEO is another area of focus for today, and this is so we can get the opportunities out of search engine marketing and make sure that your business is visible when potential customers search for it. It's important that you have a visually appealing, modern and fast-loading website, so your web design is an important element. Some organizations might have a business case for developing an app, and then search engine marketing is a way of you reaching more potential customers through non-organic platforms. When you're creating your digital strategy, it's important that you consider the digital marketing channels that will be most beneficial to you. As I mentioned, it's unlikely you'll get them all set up and optimized at the same time, so this is something that you can continuously work on over the course of a number of weeks or months. Hopefully the information in today's video will help you to understand some of the key areas of focus and some things that can get the ball rolling. Let's now focus on SEO. SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization, and the process of SEO is trying to make sure that your website shows up when you conduct a search. So without sounding too creepy, basically Google and other search engine providers send these crawlers or spiders, if you want to call them, and they look at your entire site and they absorb all of that content. They look at your images, your headings, they look at the code, they look at the links, etc., and they create an index of that site. And what we want to do is make sure that the info they get is really high quality, so that whenever people search, your website comes up within the results. So all of this here that we're talking about is organic. It's not paid for. There is a separate section, which is your paid for, your search engine marketing. But here for now, we're just talking about the free stuff. Let's take a look at how search engines can access websites and then create a copy of websites in their index. This visual is a really good way of understanding how that works. So search engines like Google, they send out spiders or bots to crawl the web. It does sound a little bit creepy, but the spiders or bots come to your website and they take note of absolutely everything on your site. So it will look at titles, keywords, description tags, navigation, image names, on-page content, your link profile, just really everything on your site to learn what the site's about and where to rank your site within results. Then the spiders then take all of that data and consolidate their findings into an index. And this is almost like a virtual folder. So your website is then indexed within Google or whatever other search engine you're using within their database. Then when a search is conducted, the search engine will retrieve the copy of your website from its index and present that on screen. And your website will be presented with lots of other similar and related websites. So the more data that the spiders get about your website, the better it can then create that index. So the more positive factors, hopefully then higher up within the search engine results page that your website will appear. So let's just take this in terms of a practical application. When someone searches, they use keywords or key phrases. So that's whatever they pop into Google. Let's just say they go with shop fitter Belfast. And the search engine takes the keyword, looks through its index, so it looks through all its files, and then shows the websites that are relevant to what the keyword or key phrase is. So whenever you get those results back, this is called a SERP, a search engine result page. So a SERP looks a little bit like this. And within your SERP, you obviously can see what that keyword phrase was. You get all of your results. And then over here, nearly like half of this page is taken up by a business listing, which is really, really powerful. We're going to talk about that today as well. Now, one other thing is within the SERP, you will see ads. So these are, for example, Google search ads. We're not focusing on that element right now. We're just talking about the organic listings underneath the ads. Where it's product-based, you might see shopping ads coming through or products listed. Okay, so this is what a SERP looks like. Shop Fitter Belfast was our search. In red here, these are the ads. So these are paid for ads. Now, they still do have to be relevant. You can't just run an ad in absolutely anything. Google does determine what ads show. So the organic results are the non-paid for results. And the first element will be our local results. So because I searched for Shop Fitter Belfast, it's bringing me up shop fitters in Belfast, obviously. And we can see in the map where these businesses are located. So here we can see shop design and fit, shop interior systems, Wheatcross construction. So there's two elements here we really want to focus on: the Google My Business profile, so you show up map results, and then also getting your website to show up itself. Okay, so organic results are those here in blue that I've highlighted, and typically there's 10. So with any SERP, you're going to get about 10 organic websites showing up. And then underneath that, so we get more ads. So I've just like taken that screenshot. So this is just a continuation. There's more ads at the bottom of the page as well. So we saw some at the top. There's more at the bottom. This one's actually quite competitive because if I just scroll back to here, there are 3 ads at the very top. Then at the bottom, there's 3 more ads. That's 6 ads on that search term. So that means if you can get ranking here organically, that's going to be really valuable to you because we see that there's already 6 companies that want to get that visibility. So if you can do it organically, all the better. One other thing I want to let you know about is this little opportunity towards the bottom of the page, and this is searches related to what we've just searched for. So this is where Google's saying, hey, do you know, people who search for that term also search for these similar terms. Whenever you're looking here and searching for that particular keyword or key phrase, have a look at the very, very bottom of the page because that's giving you clues about similar related terms. Okay, so I want to focus more on how you get your website to show with these results. Now, I'm talking about Google the whole way through here, and the reason why I'm doing that is because Google handles 87% of all global searches. So if you're optimizing for Google, you're definitely getting a really high percentage of all global searches. So we're not going to invest our time in Bing or Yahoo. Let's invest our time in Google. And the other thing that's really important is to bear in mind that searches have increased during COVID. So we know that a lot of people are using search engines now to find new brands and to find information. We've relied on digital and search even more throughout COVID. So it's now the #1 way for people to find new brands online. So why should you invest in your SEO? It's free targeted traffic. So people have that intent. They're searching for a particular thing. It serves up your business to people who are looking for that kind of help. It helps you to reach new customers. So these people may not have ever come across you before. Some of the challenges, though, it does take time. There are no guaranteed rankings, and you have very limited control over what Google shows. One of the things you absolutely can influence is this Google My Business panel. And this is a panel that can show up, and this is where I said it takes like almost half the page in size. You've got full control over this because this is something that you create. So a Google My Business panel is a free listing service. Here's where you can set it up. This is where you can show up in the local map results. And when you log in and create your Google My Business listing, you can update your business info. You can monitor and reply to your reviews. You can get statistics that tell you how many people viewed your Google My Business profile, but also you can post to that as well. So notice here, there's posts coming through. So you can add a photo or a video and some text, and that way people who are searching for you can actually get some recent updates from within this search engine result page. So this is what we saw earlier, the local results, and this is related to the Google My Business profile. So some of the things that you get to see would be business images, and you can upload these yourself. So if it is like a physical presence, you can bring like a 360 video into that, or you can just photograph lots of different areas of your showroom and pop that up. You also have obviously the address, telephone number, opening hours, etc. And within your panel, you will have an area for more info. That's where you can provide a summary of what your business does, and in there you'll want to include your keywords. So how do you do that? You will need a Google account in order to set it up. So if you don't have one yet, you can create a Google account and you can use your current email. You don't need to create like a Gmail email for this. You can use your current email. Okay, so here's a few tips, and this is useful for going forward of what to pop in. So address, business hours, category, photographs. You want to have an introduction, payment, if that's relevant. You want to ask for reviews, post from that profile, and make sure it's kept up to date. This is what it looks like on the app. You can download that and manage it from your phone on the go. And we will now focus on social media. So looking at social media, again, just starting with that social media snapshot. We know that there's nearly 4 billion social media users around the world. That has seen a 10% growth in 2020. So we've mentioned the impact of COVID. It's encouraged a lot of us to use more digital platforms, and social media is no different. It's the same. We know that 99% of people who use social media do so on a mobile phone. So again, just drilling into ourselves that importance of mobile. It must, look fantastic on a mobile. There needs to be a great experience on mobile, because so many people are just using social media on a mobile, and then if they're clicking through to your website on mobile, it has to be really impressive. Okay, so here we can see that there's a lot of digital growth. The population's obviously grown during 2020. We've had a 2.4% increase in mobile phone users. The number of internet users has increased by 8%, and then the social media users has increased by 10%. So we know that social media is where there is the greatest rate of growth in terms of digital. So Facebook is head and shoulders above the rest. It's coming out tops. And then following that, we've got YouTube. Then there's WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, WeChat, Instagram, TikTok, and then platforms that we're probably less familiar here in Europe: QQ, Weibo, Qzone, etc. I mean, this is a global snapshot, so quite a lot of those platforms would be more popular within Asia. So Facebook has over 2 billion registered users, 37 million are in the UK, and the most common age demographic is 25 to 34, and that represents nearly 30% of users. The main challenge with Facebook is trying to get your content seen. There are over 300 million photo uploads every day and 5 billion pieces of content shared. So it is a fast-paced platform. It's trying to really get your content in front of your potential audience. Now, when we look at the audience breakdown in terms of age and gender, we can see there that the 25 to 34-year-olds does account for the largest group, males more so than females. But across the board, you could probably say 18 to 44 is where most of the Facebook users are currently situated. Okay, I want to just then share some of the other social media platforms with you so you can compare them in size. Twitter. So Twitter has got 326 million monthly active users, but it is considerably smaller than Facebook. Again, it's really fast paced because there's 500 million tweets sent per day. As you may know, you've got a 280 character limit on your tweet. So you have to be quite specific about what you want to say. Again, high mobile usage, 83% of Twitter active users are on mobile. So when we're looking at the advertising audience here for Twitter, it is much more dispersed. So we have from 13 right up to 50 plus, but the noticeable thing is that there are more males using Twitter than females. And that's really, really noticeable with the 25 to 49-year-olds. So there's a higher percentage of men on Twitter. LinkedIn then has also been mentioned. I think it was just mentioned once in the mix, but LinkedIn is very good for relationship building and lead generation. So LinkedIn's a lot larger than Twitter. It's got 702 million registered users. It's actually the largest professional network in the US, UK, and Ireland. There's very little to rival it. So whereas we've got like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, which are all social media platforms that are focusing on B2B and B2C, LinkedIn's the only professional network. We have seen Facebook move into things like Facebook Work, but definitely not to the same level of success as LinkedIn has got. It's definitely a high growth platform. So 2 new members join every second. And here you can reach people right across the globe. There's a geographical reach of more than 200 countries and territories. The other thing about LinkedIn is you can reach the decision maker. So 44% of LinkedIn users earn more than $75,000. Now that is in dollars per year, but you can reach people at many different levels of the organization. So if you really wanted to connect with people in a particular organization to build that network, to build that contact and try and pitch into them from there, LinkedIn will allow you to do that. The other great thing about LinkedIn is you get to see content from people that you're not directly connected with, and you might notice this in your newsfeed. So if you use LinkedIn, have a look after today's training, go down through your news feed, and there will be posts that pop up from people that are not currently first degree connection. They could be a second or third degree connection. The reason why you're seeing their post is because someone who you are connected with has interacted with it. So it means that you're getting even more reach in LinkedIn. You know, you're getting a lot more reach than what you would do in Facebook, for example. So if you have a good content strategy and you're putting posts out there frequently on LinkedIn, then that's a really great way of building more awareness. When we look at LinkedIn's advertising audience, we can see that the majority of users are 25 to 34. And within this category, there is a male bias again. So we can see that there's a drastic increase with the 25 to 34-year-olds compared to other age groups. We see that younger age group, 18 to 24, yes, that is growing, but a lot of them are probably still at college or in the early stages of their career or working through apprenticeships, and maybe less so relying on LinkedIn. Whereas 25 to 34 is probably that very much progression stage as they're moving through the different levels in LinkedIn and trying to build out their network in accordance to that. Okay, so Instagram is another platform that you have mentioned. It is definitely catching up. It's hot and tails of Facebook. Instagram is owned by Facebook, so Facebook is the parent company. And Instagram's already got half the users that Facebook does, so it's definitely a high growth platform at 1.8 billion monthly active users and then 14 million here in the UK. The other challenge, just quite similar to Facebook, is the amount of content. So the photos that are uploaded and trying to get cut through from that. Also, businesses using Instagram, there's a lot already, 25 million. But we do see that a lot of users are under 35. So there's a younger audience here. So let's just take a look at that. And we can see it's almost like cliff edge here when we get to right up to 25 to 34-year-old. It really does fall away. So 18 to 34 is where you get the majority of your Instagram users. Now, that might be really relevant to your business. You might say, well, yeah, we're trying to reach people like that who are maybe, buying their first home, who need these services, etc. And that could be a perfect match for you. But just bear in mind that this will change over time. It's going to shift more towards what we're seeing on Facebook, where more people aged 35 and older will then start to move on to the platform. Our younger audiences are always our early adopters. They go there first and then the older audiences follow suit. So that's where that major amount of growth is going to be. But also as this 18 to 34-year-old audience progresses through, obviously they're going to age over time. But there will be growth with the older audiences, but right now it's predominantly 35 and under that you find on Instagram. Now, there's loads of reasons why you should invest in email. Number one, it's got a really large reach. So there's over 5 billion of us using email. It's really the currency of the web. So if you're online, you have an email account. Also, it delivers your message. So 90% of emails get delivered, whereas the reach in social media posts is really low. We've seen it be as low as 2% of your Facebook fans get to see your posts. It also is really good for conversion. So because an email sent just to that one person, what I mean is that you're not competing with loads of other posts there the way you are with Facebook. It can be more personal. The other thing is that you can show people products or services that they've looked at in the past, and the click-through rate is typically around 3%, which is really great. It's really strong, and it's a lot stronger than social media click-throughs. Email is also really measurable. So any platform you use will tell you how many opens, clicks, bounces, forwards, social media shares. And that's even stronger again if you build your email marketing into a CRM system. If you're using Salesforce or the likes, you get a really thorough picture of how that is impacting your customer interaction and engagement. So when you're getting started with email, the best thing is to think, when's it relevant for us to send emails? Like, where can we be helpful? So some ideas might be after initial contact, such as a phone call or a contact form. So I've engaged with an architect recently, and they've been quite good in terms of like sending me emails directly. But there's an opportunity where they could have said, thanks so much for, inquiring about our services. Here's what we offer, and here's some recent case studies. So I could learn about them before I actually have that next conversation or that meeting. And that helps to bring me on that journey. So think about what people might benefit from knowing early on in that journey. Also, after a site meeting, so you could say, okay, if you're at this stage, here's all the info that you need to know. So if there are key processes within that customer journey, you can provide info by email, do it there. Also, after they sign up to a service, like boiler maintenance or any kind of recurring thing. Also, throughout that lead generation process, think about what the frequently asked questions are and at which stage. Also, let them know about any new offers, new product launches, to cross-sell and upsell. So if they've chosen a particular service with you and another one might be relevant, let them know about that. Also, just to keep them engaged with what you're doing. So monthly newsletters about, what's happening in the organization, milestones, new projects, anything that can be beneficial to them by way of an incentive like a competition. But also you can do emails to invite them to share feedback, so to get their opinion. So analytics we're finishing on because it's an important factor to be able to look at the progress that you're making digitally. And one of the tools that I recommend every person has is Google Analytics. And Google Analytics is a free tool that tracks all of the interaction on your website. So it's installed currently on at least 10 million websites worldwide. And with Google Analytics, you get to see all of the data in terms of how people have visited your site, how many pages they looked at when they were there, the time that they spent, that breakdown in new users and returning. So it gives you a really clear idea about how people are finding your content and whether they're engaging with that or not. With Google Analytics, your menu's over on the left-hand side, so you can go in and look at your audience and find out more about how they got there, what they're doing on the site. And also you can set up goals if there's really important things that you want to track on your site. You can see how people are completing those. How Google Analytics works is you have a user who's a real life human being, like you or me, and then that person might come to your site more than once, and every time they visit, it's recorded as a session. So one user might have 3, 4 sessions, and then within each session, they have page views, and this just records every page that they view. So throughout your report, you'll see users being reported on, sessions, and page views. So just understanding that breakdown is quite helpful.